Okay, so hi and welcome to my very first interview on the Fae and the elemental realms and the Devas and whatever else comes up in conversation. I'm so honoured and deeply blessed to have Jessica Jones here with us today. Jessica, I've done a little bit of reading about Jessica. You have a beautiful website called Love's Mission. And so basically you're about love, about shifting fear, moving into love, raising consciousness. Is there anything else you want to share about what you do and who you are in the world?
Well, first, I just want to thank you for creating this space and for stepping into your yes to create these videos and interviews to share the elementals, which I'm super excited to be a part of and grateful for anyone who listens to hear about these magical kingdoms and how they can really create a magnificent world around us. Love's Mission is all about the end of fear on earth and helping people to really align with how to be a beautiful human being, you know? I believe that all of life is spiritual. So some might call me a spiritual person. I don't like to go with that because I believe that everything is spiritual. So I really just like to empower people to be awesome human beings and to learn how to use their supernatural capacities to really shine. So I work with people individually in groups and give away a lot of good content. So you're able to follow me on social media, and there's tons of
You've got
stuff.
the beautiful I'm a Forest challenge that's underway at the moment, which is really leading us to connect to the elementals and the fairies. So that's so beautiful that you've got that going on. So I'll put a link to you below and people can find you.
Perfect.
Excellent. So my feeling for this is I'd really like to hear from you your process of awakening to the Fae or whatever, and just to hear what words you use as well to describe your connection. And so wherever you kind of want to go with that, have you always been open to them, or was it something that happened as you got older and kind of got younger?
Well, there's kind of a two-part story to it because there's always that time when we're in our adolescence and we forget who we truly are. When I was a child, though, I was fully awakened to them from infancy. I pretty much spent all day, all night that I was allowed to be outside. And I had my own fairy gardens and my own flower gardens, and I tended to them throughout my whole childhood and was connected with them. Though I kept it a secret because pretty much it was just like me and them for a vast majority of my childhood. I just played with the fairies and animals and was really deeply connected.
And did you actually see the fairies, like with your physical eyes?
Yes. And then, I grew up and shifted away from really believing in anything for a while, and then went through a whole deeper healing of my body and transformation. And back in 2015, 17 now? Time. So back in 2015 is when they revealed themselves to me again in my physical body, in their physical body, in my physical body. So for about a year and a half before, I had never lost faith or knowing or going into nature and asking to connect to the fairies. I had never lost that. What was kind of shifted was being able to physically see them. Due to just like traumas, my heart closed off and I wasn't available to see that vibration. And then in 2015, I had been working with them really closely. I've been going up into Joshua Tree and Yosemite, into all these places, and just continuously walking into the forest and asking for their guidance, asking for them to support me and guide me, and letting them know how much I've respected them and loved them and never have lost belief in them. And so back in 2015, I was going on this journey, and you might have heard this story that I shared in the group. I was going on this journey into Yosemite, and I was teaching a meditation class and then driving overnight from Southern California to make it there for sunrise. And this woman comes up to me and she's like, you're going to Yosemite tonight. I see you in Tenaya Lake, and there are fairies all around you, and they just crown you with this flower, and you're in all white. And it's under a full moon, and it wasn't a full moon then. So she's like, I'm not sure when this happened. She's like, that said you have to go to Tenaya Lake. And it was funny because on the map, I kind of just like closed my eyes and landed my finger as to where I'd be sleeping in Yosemite, and it was right next to this lake. And so I went up that time and had this amazing, like, you literally drive up into Tenaya Lake and the whole area just starts to sparkle. Like, there's glitter in the road, there's glitter in the trees, there's just sparkles everywhere. And it's not just for someone that is connected to the fairy realm. Like, the people I were with were like, wow, this whole area sparkles. Like, what is happening? And I was like, it's the Faery Kingdom. And so they led me to this spot where they started to prepare. And what I find is that they love celebration so much, and they had this whole celebration prepared for me, essentially, that I was just like following my heart to go to. And it wasn't this time. I ended up going back about 3 months later, and had this like crazy experience with my friend, and we couldn't find anywhere to camp. And so I was just like, we have to just drive up to the lake. It was pitch black. It was under a full moon. I happened to be in all white, and I had literally just left all of my belongings. I had donated everything I owned and left my home. And I'm regrounding myself after 2 years. It's been 2 years of traveling into the forest now. And so I made a commitment to the elemental kingdoms, essentially, to connect more deeply to them and to literally live in the forest. And so this was like the beginning of that, the first stop that I was making in Yosemite. And I just remember like slamming on his arm and telling me he has to stop the car right here. We had no idea where we were in the park, and I just like, something moves through me, and I just get out, and it's freezing cold, and I'm in this white t-shirt and white pants, and just started running and sprinting through the forest to the very spot on the lake that they had brought me to before. And there just fairies everywhere, and I just started bawling my eyes out, and my heart had just, I've never felt anything like that before in my heart, and I still to this day haven't felt anything happen in my heart. And I've had a lot of like really mind-blowing, heart-open experiences. That said, it was just like the most power I've ever felt come through this heart before. And there was just fairies all around, and my friend Michael's like back there. He didn't come down because he understood what was happening and was like, this is not for me. And he just took a picture, and I'm just like this in the picture, like from the back, and you can see all the little speckles of light everywhere. And they just kept saying, welcome home, we've missed you. And like, I've been able to see them ever since. And so it's been on like a 2-year journey of just going to really, really special places and connecting with them and bringing through their messages and helping people to open their heart, because essentially that's
the message.
The main thing is the open heart is how we connect with all beings, and especially beings that are full light and love, which the fairies are.
Yeah. I love that. And because that's what I hear from them as well. You know, that's the messages and the learning that I've had. It's about opening your heart, and being playful and innocent, and returning to that childlike wonder. So I love your story. It's so beautiful. I'm so intrigued. And like, how do they look to you? How do they appear to you? Because I know there's this idea that beings will show themselves in different ways to different people. So just curious.
Well, on this experience, there were literally thousands of them, and they were just little tiny lights, and they had bodies like a human body, just very, very tiny, and then big glowing wings, and their whole body was just luminescent. You could almost see through them. And then there were so many of them that I was just like, And now when I see them, there's usually about one that comes, and it's just really tiny little light being with fairy wings, or wings like a butterfly.
Yeah, how magical. That's so magical. And so when you're out meeting with them, do you have any like rituals that you do, or Like, or is there anything that you would share to, like, that other people could do to?
So I always, whenever I go into any place in nature, whether it's my backyard or a giant forest, I always ask for whatever spirits of light and love want to come and guide me. I'm open to receive guidance. And when I kind of go through this thing of saying whether it's a bird or a squirrel or a deer or a fairy or a rat or whatever it is, you know, like I'm open to your guidance, or a gnome, that connects with the gnomes as well.
Yeah.
And so I just ask, and I just set my intention that I'm open to receive guidance and to connect, and my heart is open. And that's the key, is the invitation. You know, it's almost like this whole entire universe has the law of free will, and so no being can, especially beings of light and love, they're not going to violate your free will. And so unless you ask for connection with them, to see them, feel to feel them, you won't get that connection, because they have a very high standard of respect for the universe and for the natural order, and so they're not going to violate someone's free will and show themselves or connect to people that aren't asking for it.
Yeah.
So ask, you know, go in and ask and set that intention. And they hang out in places that have circles. So if you see like rock circles or flowers in a circle, that's usually a fairy altar. As you know, I saw your pictures and I was like, oh, she's on the Faery Kingdom.
Totally. And mushrooms as well.
Yes.
Fairy rings. Yeah, and
Oh,
trees.
there's anything that's in a circle. They have like their celebrations there.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that aspect of their realm, is the celebratory part of it. And I really feel like this is a big part of the message that is coming through as well. Like, we've become so serious in our lives, in our everyday lives, and the energy of celebration isn't so. Yeah, we keep it for special occasions. It's like we're not, on the whole, not continuously in celebration of life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to continuously bring people back into the idea. I first bring them into the idea of the archetype of the divine child, and let that be the first introduction to the magic of the elemental realms. And for those people who have spent intimate time with me, like they're physically in my space, they just know that I'm a fairy, and that's just that. And so it's never a question. That's an energy I'm always embodying for the most part. I have had people around me, though, who did not want me to embody that around them, that energy. And because it made them uncomfortable to be around that much joy and laughter and seeing the blessing in everything. Like, okay, yeah, we're experiencing a terrible situation right now. Where is the magic in it, though? Where is the celebration? How can we celebrate this pain that we're moving through? Because ultimately, it's a gift. And so that's that energy. And so some people have a hard time opening up to that, and that's because we've been so traumatized by fear. And we've lost the divine essence of our true nature, which is that everything here, like being in form, is such a gift. And it's meant to be celebrated, especially on this beautiful planet. I mean, we're really blessed here, and people have no concept of how blessed we are on this planet.
Yeah, and that's part of my desire with doing this, is this like wanting to bring in this subtle shift. Well, it's not that subtle, but it kind of is in a way. There's a subtle shift into dropping into this other realm that is this beauty and love and like this unconditional joy. And it's present all the time. That's a really part of my desire right now, is to just to bring that knowledge.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you to bring that through.
Yeah. And it's really good for me, because I drop in and out of it. I feel for you, you're very, very deeply connected, and it's there like a lot of the time. And not to say you don't have your human.
Yeah.
It's there, right? You know, we are human, and there's a density in our experience that we're releasing and embracing and integrating. And and I find the more that when I'm connecting to these realms, then life is just easier. I feel like there's so much support that comes in when we open. through the heart center to, yeah, just to see life differently with new eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Life becomes, you know, it's a total shift that we make when we tap into these kingdoms. I mean, the fairies, they're the magic keepers, and they're the keepers of abundance as well. And so when we connect to their energy and we open up to what their fire can create, we open up to like literal magical abundance showing up and appearing, and they're really the keepers of the finances, the money, the abundance of everything. And
Yeah, I've
so
heard you say that recently. That's what you were talking about in the last interview. And I'd not heard that before. And it kind of clicked quite a few things into place for me, actually. Just kind of looking at the way things run in this country, especially. And you were talking about the tour, and yeah, there's a lot of manipulation that has happened that you were saying as well around the fairy energy. And that was, were you saying that's why they had retreated, or one of the reasons that...
Yeah, so I guess this is a little bit of like the fairy story of the planet. There was a time on the planet during Atlantis and Lemuria and the previous root races where all of the elementals and the spirits of nature lived physically able to be seen by humans, and humans were able to see them, and they were able to see humans, and all of these kingdoms lived interchangeably on this planet. And they're still here. They just shifted because of what happened during Atlantis. And essentially, there was so much human manipulation and materialism and greed, and all of this really aggressive energy kind of got stirred up, and a lot of black magic was used, and they would essentially capture fairies and drain them of their magic and use their magic for wrongdoing, for essentially dominating other people. And
you can see that story goes through so many, like even Disney films, and there's so much truth that runs through. It's like a hidden story that's there. Yeah.
And there's definitely no coincidence that the family that owns the vast majority of the world wealth happens to be located in one of the most highly populated areas of fairies on the planet.
Yeah. You often find air bases as well, don't you, near, like at Fintorn up in Scotland. Like, there's usually air bases, and all of this stuff is known, isn't it? It's well known with the people that are running things. It's not a secret.
So essentially, after the fall of Atlantis and the start of our root race, there was an agreement that was made where a lot of the doors were closed between the animal and human kingdoms, and we used to be able to essentially, our spirit was able to manifest into any form, and we could cross in between kingdoms through the ages of Atlantis and Lemuria and the polar race. And then the door was closed in the Atlantean timeline, so that if you were incarnating in a human form and you were actually from fairy form, like, you couldn't go back.
Right.
And you couldn't go back and forth between being an animal and a human, and you were able to back then. And we can't do that now. We've been essentially on timeout. We've been on timeout karmically from what happened.
That's beginning to shift now.
Well,
do you have a sense? I feel this awakening of the elemental realms again, or the separation between humanity and the elementals seems to be.
Well, what I find happening is that many of us who have lived lifetimes in the elemental realms are remembering those lifetimes and are starting to connect back to those lifetimes. Like, I've talked to so many mermaids from Lemuria. It's unbelievable. And many fairies as well. And I have full memory of the vast majority of my lifetimes in the Faery Kingdom. And people are just remembering those lifetimes and wanting to now connect back and connect to that, because the elementals, they feel, you know, the earth is shifting. They know what's happening on the planet. We're in the end of the Kali Yuga, we're in the Aquarian age, which is the end of a huge cycle, and everything's going to shift at the end of this 2,000-year cycle, and we're all preparing for that. Every species, every kingdom is preparing for that, including the elementals. And they know that a huge piece of that is they're assisting humanity in opening their heart and getting to light body form. So they have a huge piece in that. They have a huge role that they're taking on as far as distributing the magic and the supernatural capacities, and reconnecting people to the earth, and really continuing to maintain the beauty of the planet while humanity goes through their suffering and the struggles to kind of like even out the karma that we created during the last thousands of years, millions of years, even back into Atlantis. And so they're now having people who with open hearts who are remembering these lifetimes and remembering these things. And so they're trying to connect the bridge first with these beings, messengers essentially for these realms, like you and I are, to start speaking for them and start, you know, connecting people to those places. And I've had multiple people come to me because they wanted to connect to the Faery Kingdom and guide them through this and how to connect and open their heart for that space.
Yeah.
So that's really what I see happening. And there will be a time when I think the veil will completely drop again. Do I feel that that's happening anytime soon? No.
Yeah.
No, I don't. It's not, we're not fully prepared. Humanity is not fully prepared, and it wouldn't be in the highest for all of those kingdoms to be seen right now, because there still is a lot of fear and pain. And so we have to have a mass tip into open-hearted connection with all things first.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's really interesting just watching how many, it's quite a taboo subject. It's taken me quite a long time to be able to be willing to really speak about it. Like, it's taken quite a few years. I keep going, oh, I'm just going to sweep that over there. I kind of know it's my calling, but I don't want to be ridiculed, or, you know, all of those things. And people, even trying to line up interviews, I can feel where people are like, oh, I don't know that I actually want people to know that I connect to this realm and that it's real. You know, we've been, so yes, I really get there's a long way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But there's also, I really feel something, there's real magic happening as well.
It's available for all of those who wish to be involved. You know, it's what we choose now, and if we want to be connected to those realms and access their wonder, then we are able to. You know, children are prime examples of what's possible. They have full connection to these realms, and they experience so much magic and joy in their lives. And there, I don't believe that the children's generation are going to stop seeing them.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to go through what our generations went through. The generations all before ours went through with really having that societal pressure. The younger generations, you know, they're very special. They're very connected, and they're really kind of saying like, no, I'm not going that route. And I don't think that they'll lose that connection.
Yeah.
So they might be the start of living in harmony with these elementals again.
Yeah.
Like oftentimes, like people message me, and my clients will have their kids in session with me because I love them. I love children, and they light me on fire. My favorite archetype to play is a divine child. So, and I've had people message me and be like, my children like saw your picture, and they're like, oh my God, there's a fairy.
That's so beautiful. I love that.
Yes.
I was thinking, oh, maybe I can interview children as well. I made this little fairy garden last year at a festival. Did this grotto and made all these little bits and pieces, and actually it was amazing, the way the children responded to it, and even the groups of boys who were trying to claim that they had made it, and I was really surprised, like, that they really wanted to own that they had done it. I was like, wow, they're really, like, it was cool. Yeah, and I met other children as well that are seeing fairies, and
Mhm.
oh, it's so beautiful to have those conversations with people, and the parents being there, totally encouraging their children and not telling them that it's not
Make
real.
believe, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's just a fairy tale.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love looking at the fairy tales, because for me there's so many images within the fairy, like they're real. It's how I've never seen a physical form, but I see kind of with my inner vision, and yeah, and like it looks like the pictures in fairy tales. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it really is that magical. Yay. um so I wonder um if there's anything else that you want to share about your connection with them, or any messages that you feel are kind of coming through for you to share.
Hmm. I actually tuned in with them before I came on here and asked what they would like for people to know right now. And the big thing that came up was travel, to go
Travel.
out, to travel, to get out of where they're at, get out of their comfort zones and go into nature, go into these beautiful places, travel into magnificent forests and beautiful lakes, and leave your comfort zone of your home and your city and your house and your building, and go out and just sit in nature and travel out into nature, because that's really when we can start to connect to the planet
Yeah.
and connect to our truth of who we really are when we're in the middle of the redwood forest or whatever forest it is that's near your home, or you just sit there and you let everything that wants to move through you, all of the limitations that come when you first go, and barriers to the forest, and then just keep doing it and keep going, because I mean, there's a reason why all of this planet is green and the heart center is green. It's because it opens the heart. And so just travel is really what was coming up really strongly from them this morning. Like, encourage people to go out into nature,
Yeah, beautiful. I
travel to these places. If their heart is being called to someplace magical, then go. You know, you have the abundance to go. And if you feel like you don't, or you have fears blocking that, you know, connect to the fairies, ask for their support, ask for them to support you, and they will.
yeah,
Will support you, especially if your intention is to go into nature and connect to the planet and connect to these realms. They will, I mean, 100% support you. I've had miraculous things happen in my life to be supported, to be able to do the work that I've been doing with them.
yeah, yeah. Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Like needing sums of money and then it turning up exactly the same amount, like, you know, like spot on to the penny kind of thing. So
Yep.
yeah, it's really true. Yeah, I love that. And that's definitely for me, that was really like me going out regularly into nature was what really helped to ground all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a beautiful message.
Yeah, and I think to just play, like, this is from my heart, is just play. An invitation for us to set aside time in our day to play, to laugh, to just spin around in circles or jump up and down, and just come back to that child that was so excited to be alive. Really return to that essence is important right now, because this life, we're supposed to be celebrating it, even the challenges. If people get to a space where they can fully celebrate their challenge,
Oh, that's key.
it's so transformative. Everything changes. I mean, I've been in the heat of some really profound challenges in this life, some really deep traumas, and being able to celebrate those moments has allowed for them to heal and all of these things to shift. And that's really the key.
Is there any way that, is there any advice that you could give somebody to be able to do that? Like, do you have a technique? Like, it's got to be simple, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I usually encourage people to go and buy a hula hoop.
yay! I'm into hooping.
Essentially, like, not only are we playing and laughing and we're doing something physically for our body, and we're using our lower three energy centers, our root chakra and our sacral center especially, which are, first, our root chakra connects us to the earth, which helps us connect to the elemental realms and safety and security and abundance and releasing fear. And then our sacral center is our center of play and creativity and passion and sensuality and all of the things that are the fairy realm. And so hula hooping is a really great way of like doing that in nature, of playing and having fun and also strengthening our connection to the earth. So super simple. Or just go hug a tree.
Yeah.
Open your heart and work through all of the judgments that come up when you're hugging it around, oh my God, what are people thinking of me? Or what if someone sees me? Or this is silly, or all those things. You have to just hold it long enough to get through all those stories.
Yeah, I actually did that this week, because I still have that. I still have this fear of doing stuff in public. And it was one of your challenges on the I'm a Forest. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to do it. And it was so lovely, because I've always hugged trees, but I noticed, like, oh, I just do it like not for very long. I don't sink in, and I really let myself just sink. And of course, people moved through it, were walking past as I was going through my fear. I thought, oh, this is so fascinating. And then I just sank into, it's such a beautiful space. So much beautiful wisdom just comes through from the trees as well. You know, even just through a feeling sense, isn't it? It's not necessarily words or anything.
What I find is that there are always going to be people that judge others because they're still judging themselves, and you just can't care what anyone thinks.
I'm learning that right now.
You know, I was hugging this mug, and I have been known to just start running towards a tree that like calls to my heart, and people will be like, "What's he doing?" I was with my brother and his wife, and they already think I'm pretty loopy, and I just went like and sprinted to this giant tree, and all these people were walking by being like, "Look at that girl hugging on that tree," and all this stuff, and I'm just like, it doesn't even matter. Like, I am so happy right now, and if it brings you happiness and joy and bliss and opens your heart, have compassion for those other people, you know, because they're still judging, so that means their heart's still closed. And so that's when we want to hug that tree even more, because I've had so many people criticize it and then hug a tree, and their life has been changed forever. And it was just from seeing me do it. I've had people message me from all over the world, be like, your pictures has inspired me to go hug trees, and this is what happened. And I'm going to hug trees forever now, you know, because it's like going home to the great grandmother you've always wanted, you know, like to be nurtured and supported and held and be totally seen. That's what Mother Nature does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And when we do these things as well, it sends out ripples, doesn't it? And we influence other people without even knowing it. Just following our hearts and bringing in the joy. I love it.
And that's like a huge key of what's happening right now, I feel, in the elemental kingdom, is that they're wanting so many of us to go out and start sprinkling it and spreading it and creating these ripple waves for connection.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much. Before we finish, is there anything else that you would like to share?
Keep fresh flowers around your house. Keep fresh flowers around your house. That's what came through.
Nice. I was admiring yours in the background when you came on. I was like, oh, beautiful lilies.
Yeah, just have flowers. Bring beauty into your life is the message behind that. Bring nature into your home. If you live in a city, bring it into your home.
Yeah, flowers are just they're such a wonderful way to connect, aren't they? And you can work with flowers in so many different ways as well.
And the smells, the sweetness, if you want to connect to that innocent child within you, smell a beautiful flower and it instantly drops you into your heart.
Yeah, stop and smell the roses. Literally, I always do it, going up and down. That's almost like my equivalent to tree hugging. It's like I will stop at all the roses down the road and smell each of them. Maybe one from each bush.
Same thing. It's going into nature with me is like it's going in for the whole day because we're
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, so just bring that beauty into your life, like invite it in, invite the heart space in more and more and more. And it not only will help us with connecting to the elementals, it helps us to connect with other humans. And so it's a benefit for us all the more we drop into our heart. And I think that's what the key of all of this is right now, is just moving through life, living in the heart.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. I love that. That feels like just the most perfect place to finish, and just let that message just sink in to each of our hearts. That this is where it's at, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you so much, Jessica, for taking the time today. I'm so excited.
Me too. Yeah.
And have you got anything going on that you'd like to share? Anything you've got coming up?
I actually have a group program that's coming up that I do 3 times a year. I do it during the eclipse seasons, and so it's through July and August, and it actually has a daily practice. And so I'll meet with everyone every day for 9 weeks and lead them through practices to help raise their vibration and open their heart and move through any fears and limiting beliefs that might be kind of blocking our full magic from coming through and our supernatural capacities, which essentially is what magic means. So that starts in July, and if you just go to my website, lovesmission.com, you can find out about everything that I have, and people are welcome to join the I Am a Forest challenge at any time. It's completely available from my website for free, always. If they feel inspired by this to go out and connect to nature and they don't know how, it's 7 days of kind of like guided instructions as to how to connect to nature and why it's important.
Useful. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Love to you, beautiful one.
Yes, thank you, and thank you all, beautiful beings who have taken the time to listen to this message.
Yeah, so much love to you all, and I will be back with another interview really soon. Thank you.